So what if there was a way to make a ton of money without you having to help other businesses make money either by being a marketing agency owner or by you coaching them, becoming this guru, or even having to create your own product, like a SaaS, for example. All right, I have gone down literally every single one of these trajectories. I've even gotten into things like e-commerce. Okay, I'm currently coaching right now. I've grown multiple marketing agencies to 8 figures, many more to 7 figures. These are some of the clients that I work with over here, and I even coach agency owners and I coach coaches on how to make more money. Here's the thing though, there's a better way. And what I'm going to share with you in this video is exactly how you can tap into that better way. It's something called publishing. Okay, this is absolutely the new way to make money smart and not be bottlenecked into, for example, one brand, right? So you become the figurehead of this marketing agency or your coaching program or your SaaS or whatever it is that you have. There's a way to literally duplicate yourself. I'm talking about being able to take yourself and then duplicate it a number of times across multiple offers. All right, and that is the publishing model. So before we get into exactly what the publishing model is, let's understand how things usually progress for the average coach, consultant, marketer. All right, if you're, for example, a marketing company, you would usually go from, freelance. Okay, you know how to do some media buying, some copywriting, some video editing, so you go the freelance route. Okay, and then the step up from that is you start your own agency. Okay, a step up from that is that you may have like a boutique agency, right? This was me over here. I grew this to 7 figures. And then what I did is I said, okay, I'm working with over 100 clients. I want to work with a max of 10 clients. Oftentimes, I usually only have a handful of clients. But these clients, unlike these clients, are paying me $10,000 a month plus. To do the math over there, right? A lot more potential. So with that said, the next thing that we may get into is to really go down the coaching route. Now, I'm not saying that if you're a coach, you have to go down the route of becoming an agency owner, but usually it's some version of this, right? You're like a freelancer, you got a few clients, and then you decide you want to scale. In either way, what ends up happening over here is that you have some lead and call flow. And what I want you to understand with really what we're doing over here is the following. In all these cases, we have a very limited scope, right? Even for those that end up becoming fractional CMOs in the company, they have a very limited scope. And so they can only take on a few clients at a time. Even with coaching, right, this sort of one-to-one, there's only so much you can do. And then you sort of go to group. And a lot of people think that this is where they cap out. And so you have a lot of people like these guys over here, right? For example, Charlie Morgan, you have Pace Morby. These are some of the individuals that we've worked with in the past, myself and my team, and really even they will cap out. But what if I told you that behind the Dan Locks and the Charlies and the Pace Morbys, there are people that are actually publishing them? So here's where I get into explaining a new model, a new way of doing things. All right, let's understand this. There is a certain problem out there, and to that problem, there's a solution, aka what all businesses are built on, right? Thirst being a problem that is solved by water, for example, right? So if there's no problem, there's no need for a solution, and if there's no solution, there's no business to be built around it. Now, here's the thing. Usually when you have either a marketing agency or you're a coach, or you even start some sort of a product line, right? It could even it doesn't even have to be a SaaS. It could be like a restaurant or something. What ends up happening is that you're essentially limited because you are, in many ways, the face of your brand, okay? And if you want to create multiple brands, that's fine too. But then what ends up happening is that to do the whole gauntlet of the marketing, the sales, the fulfillment, the customer success, that is quite a headache. What if there was a way to go to a business that already has cash flow, that already has systems in place, that already has customers but is doing less than $100,000 a month. Okay, what if you could go to them and basically install this machine, right? These are like cogs in a wheel, right? Different tools that really allow them to scale and grow. And what if in exchange for that, you could essentially take a percentage of the company, right? 50 to even 80% of the company. Because guess what? If they're making 20, 30, 60, 70K a month, if you're watching this and that's what you're making, I know for a fact that my team, the same team that has been a part of companies like adspend.com, bad marketing, who are oftentimes using this exact same model to take the same percentages, I know that we can do a really damn good job where we will just bolt on acquisition, right? For that alone, we'll take 50%. We'll end up taking more if we also bolt on the operations. And so you got to ask yourself, well, what are you then going to be taking? If you go to someone, for example, a coach or a consultant or really even a marketing agency or really anyone else out there, what are they going to be taking? They'll be taking that 10 to 50%. Right? I mean, 20 to 50%. That's what they're going to be taking for basically being the talking head, head coach, spokesperson. They could be the actual course creator. They could be the actual producer of product, right? Like for example, there could be a health supplement, right? And this health supplement is doing really good. Maybe it's for dogs, right? And, again, as I said, it's doing cool. It's doing like 100K a month or whatever. Maybe even more. Frick, it could be doing even 200K a month. That doesn't matter to me so much. These are just examples. But they really need to crack traffic and acquisition. All right, we'll install our systems in place and we'll take this to $1 million a month. You've essentially just 10x'd your company, right? And if you're taking 20, 30, 40% of that, yeah, it's a smaller percentage, but of a bigger pie, right? Would you rather have this pie and have 100% of this? Or would you rather have freaking piece, of this pie? Maybe have 25%, right? 25% is still going to be bigger than 100% of this. So that's the entire argument to be made over here. If you're really darn good at acquisition, if you're really darn good at paid ads, and you're really good at placing appointment setters and salespeople, and you know that you can go in and really blow up an offer, then you don't have to be the one that created it. You don't have to be the one that actually started it or has to be the one that's the face of it. You don't have to be the person that's even selling it. You could literally be the mind behind everything, put it all together, and then just help them scale up. Okay? So this is what we call the publishing model. It's the same model that's being used by, as I said, bad marketing. You have adspend.com. Got a very good friend of mine that's doing this as well. And this is a model that I do as well. And so this is really the next evolution, right? Beyond group coaching, beyond being a guru. This is how you're able to create real lasting amounts of cash, where you literally set everything up and you take a piece of the company and then you're on to the next one. Smoothing out the operations, right? You could even just hire an operator, put them in place, and have them essentially manage the whole thing for you once you start it up. So this is really a great way. Again, it's a bit more advanced, but if you have the chops for it, I'd highly recommend that you give it a shot. So hope this video is helpful. If you ever want some more support on any level, you can always go to school.com/entrepreneur, and you'll find our school community where we're helping agency owners and coaches, consultants, really supplement companies scale to not just multi-7, but even 8 figures, right? 7 figures a month. So if that's you and you want to connect, then join the community. I'll see you on the next one.